All right. Well, we will start recording right about now with episode 60 of the Current Gen podcast. Right as Derek arrived. I mean, perfect timing, Teague. Right as Dan and I were getting ready to start without you, I'd be like, yeah, he can join, but timing is perfect. So all three of us are here. Derek's even got his Mortal Kombat background going. I've got my Nier Replicant 3.2893665 FML. That's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got that background going. Which, by the way, this background I found it's a gorgeous wallpaper that someone created. It is not what the game looks like. We'll talk about what the game looks like in a little bit, but
that is nice.
It's someone's much more like 4K version of what it could look like.
What is going on down there? Where are you just
Teague, where did you go?
It's like quicksand just took him down into
it looked like you just sunk below Scorpion there for a second.
Are you guys proud of my
we're
man beard?
Yeah, what's up with that?
That's exactly how I wanted to kick things off. So we're going to talk about video games. We're going to talk about the Mortal Kombat movie, which I haven't seen yet, but these two guys have. Their thoughts on that. But we can't go anywhere until we talk about Derek's facial growth he has going on. What's the deal and how does it feel?
It's very itchy, and I only did it because the girl I'm not seeing anymore wanted me to grow my hair out, or my facial hair out, because I was hurting her when I was kissing her. So I decided to just leave it. I don't like it. Like, I feel...
You know,
I don't feel like I look bad right now, but most times when I look at it, I'm like, I like how I look better when this isn't here.
Listen, I'm 34 years old. I'm freaking Portuguese, all right? And I can't grow a beard to save my goddamn life. So you shut the hell up and you enjoy that facial hair, all right? You son of a... You know what?
All right, I could either like do the whole thing where we bust each other's balls or I could give you my real thoughts on the beard. Which do you want?
You can do both, actually. I don't think it'll take that long.
All right. Well, I actually think you look better now than you've ever looked with that hair on there.
Than you ever.
I say cover that thing up as much as you can. So that's number one.
That was rude.
Number one. Number two, honestly, it's coming in evenly. Look at it. Like, you actually have even beard growth. You could grow a legit beard, and a lot of guys can't. And I'm not trying to bash on anyone who can't, but a lot of guys can't. So you've got even growth coming in there, which is not something everyone can.
I think that's kind of why I'm doing it. Is I just want to see. I have grown it out longer than this, but it was like when I was fatter, and it was a long time ago. So I just want to see what I look like.
Yeah, and I mean, some people get the Joe Dirt thing where it's like it just grows in right here and right here, and it just like it's coming in
right here. It's thinner, like there's not as much, but
well, then that's where you should draw the line, man. That's where you trim it right up to that line, and then shave everything underneath it. Like, you got to create the border for the beard.
But I've gotten, not that I honestly, I know people think I do everything for attention, but I have gotten a lot of positive feedback for this, but honestly, if it's up to me, which, I mean, technically it is, after I see how it looks, I'm more than likely going to just shave it off. I don't care what other girls think, and definitely don't care about what guys think.
Yeah.
So. Sure. No, just rub it in. That's fine. Just keep rubbing it in. Do you want to mail me some, if you can? Just mail it in a box for me?
I'll save you my pubes.
I don't want puby facial hair. I want actual facial hair.
Dan, if you grow out a mustache, Dan, it looks like you could grow a mustache,
dude,
right?
I need to shave like every day so the stash doesn't grow, because I look like just a creep when I have a mustache.
Like Zorro, because you've got the under the lip.
I have this
teeth thing.
At least I have this. You know,
there's good and bad. Like, obviously, I don't mind that I can grow it out, and I still think I look young for a 41-year-old. But Dan, you don't look 34. So this is the only positive thing you're ever going to hear me say about you. You're still ugly. I hate your personality.
Sure. Yep. Okay.
But you look like you would be 27, 28.
Any other compliments? Do you have anything else, or?
You're still gay.
Okay. Thank you.
I'd just like to throw it out there for those of you who just listen to us and maybe you don't really ever watch or see what we look like. Derek looks younger than he is. Dan looks younger than he is. I look exactly my age, maybe a little older. So that's kind of what we're working with.
Because you're younger than me. Huh?
I'm 38. I'm 38.
Yeah.
I am an old-ass man.
You are. But yeah.
But the good thing is I date 23-year-olds, so I'm good.
Yeah, that's the good thing. Also, we're more mature than you, just so you know.
I'm gonna fight you on that.
He agrees with us on that one.
Yes.
All right. Well, hey, if I keep having audio issues, let me know. I want to make sure it's listenable for the podcast. Is it causing
sounded no, as we've been recording, it sounds
Okay.
perfectly fine. So just earlier, it definitely was being weird, but we weren't
Okay.
recording yet. So
Perfect. All right. Well, listen. I just said
Lord,
perfect like Street Fighter 2, but we're actually going to talk about Mortal Kombat. So I'm sorry for the bad reference there.
Mortal Kombat.
So I'm planning on watching this tonight after we record. This is 100% a watch it by yourself movie for me. My wife, I said it to her while she's standing in the kitchen. We're getting ready to get the kids all in bed, and I was like, "Hey, new Mortal Kombat movie's out. You want to watch it?" And she's like, "I'd pick any other option."
All right. Well, that's just rude. That's rude. Can we watch a romantic comedy?
No, honestly,
Yeah.
she'd probably watch anything else. Like even stuff that she's not interested in, she'd probably watch that. But not this
So
one.
next time she makes a suggestion for a movie that you honestly don't care about, just say
Anything else.
watch anything else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pick anything else. I'll watch a blank screen. Just turn nothing on. I'd rather watch that for an hour. So yeah, I'm gonna watch it tonight. But I want to get your guys' thoughts. I know the reviews have come out, and honestly, they look overall, in my opinion, pretty positive. If you're already going in knowing what to expect for a Mortal Kombat movie, the Rotten Tomatoes score, I was expecting it to be like a 13%, and it's really only for a certain crowd. I think it's over 50% last time I checked, which is amazing for not only a video game movie but a Mortal Kombat movie, which historically don't review all that well. So I'm just curious who cares what the critics think? Who cares? Whatever. I've read through some of the review summaries, and they're hilarious. It's people who don't know what they're talking about and are judging it just like a movie, that's their prerogative to do that. But it's funny to listen to them or to read what they're saying. What about you guys? You like this franchise? You also like movies? Did you both like it? What are your thoughts? I'll let you take it away.
Side note: there's not a lot to compare to because there's only two of them, and the first one is fun in a campy way, and the second one is mostly pretty bad. So
It is pretty bad.
yeah. So
The first one I thought was kind of a fun revisit, you know?
also has
I actually
Highlander.
would like to watch the first one again because I probably watched it like 30 times when I was a teen, and I have not watched it in probably 20 years.
Yeah.
It doesn't hold up visual wise, but it's still a fun kind of 90s, like so 90s. But I still kind of enjoyed it for what it was.
All right, so I'll start and then Dan can follow up. So I actually woke up at like 5 in the morning this morning, wasn't planned, and then I was like, "Oh, Mortal Kombat came out. I wonder if I could watch it right now because I didn't know if it unlocked at a certain time." Sure enough, it was. So I actually watched the entire movie before I went to work, which I'm happy about because I knew I had plans tonight, and I didn't want to wait. Like I wanted to watch it. I would have been at work the whole time wanting to watch it. Anyway, so I watched it. I know what Mortal Kombat is. Anybody who doesn't know anything about me knows. You should know I'm a huge fan. I like a lot of different games now, but it's my favorite franchise. Like it's the franchise that got me addicted to video games. So if that's a good thing. But so I'm a big fan. I like the characters. I like the world, universe, story, everything. So this movie, I feel like, is pretty close to perfection when it comes to what I could imagine a Mortal Kombat movie being. Like I remember when I watched the first one, I remember liking it, and I remember me and my friends, I wasn't exaggerating, we probably watched it like 30 times. But a lot of times we were watching it just because we were making fun of like the voice acting, and we were just having fun with it. But I remember as a Mortal Kombat freak back then, like even a bigger freak than I am now, I was super disappointed because it was PG-13 or whatever it ended up being. There was no fatalities, not like what we're used to in the video games. So it didn't feel Mortal Kombat. So I knew this
they
one.
had to make it mainstream, right? And they're like, well, video games for kids. We got to let kids go. So I remember them really drawing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the game, Mortal Kombat, the original game, is the reason why what started ratings for games in the first place. So, the violence and everything, So
it was a weird decision to do that. But
but I understand it because rated R movies were not well received like they are now. Like you can release a Deadpool movie, put it rated R, and it's going to sell millions and millions of tickets, millions and billions of dollars. So same thing with Mortal Kombat. It's not that risky now to release a Mortal Kombat movie as a rated R. It would have been a huge risk back then. Even though gamers would have known what it is, mainstream would have been like, nope, not going. So anyways, so I went into it with high hopes, to be honest with you, because I had watched all the previews for it and I liked the direction it was going in. And then I even watched like the first 7 minutes the night before, and that even hyped it more with the action that they threw you into right away. I do have some issues with it. Without like anybody knows me, especially when it comes to movies, I don't overanalyze. My rating system as movies is did I like it? And this I loved. But like for me, as I watched it, I did feel like the overall story was rushed when it really didn't need to be. And then my other issue was I felt like I know Mortal Kombat has cheese, but there was some lines where I was like, you didn't, please, you didn't need to do that. Like,
I think sometimes there are first drafts of scripts and some lines just don't get that double check that they need. I feel like that happens sometimes. It's like someone should have caught this one.
I also think when you're dealing with like established franchises, like a video game franchise, they kind of like force things in. Like, okay, I'll give you an example. I don't think this is really a spoiler because I'm not going to give you details. I'm just going to tell you, guy gets in a quick fight. It's not even a long fight, so it's not like a Mortal Kombat fight where it's like a 2-round fight. It's a quick fight, finishes off with a fatality and says, flawless victory. And I'm like, you don't need to say that. It doesn't.
Oh,
it
you
doesn't
do.
fit.
Of course you do.
No, you didn't need to say that. And you don't need the character to say it. Like, if you want to have some imaginary deep voice Mortal Kombat god saying, flawless victory, totally fine. Like, in the original movie, Shang Tsung was the one that would say it. Like, he would stand up and be like, flawless victory. That made sense. It was his tournament. He's watching. He just watched.
Well, that actor kind of sold it too, right? Like, it was like, whoa, that guy's into this.
Yeah. So, in this, there was stuff like that. But, again, that's really small, minor things. Yeah. But overall, I thought they did a really good job with the characters. Like I said in my post in our Facebook group, I have never, ever liked Kano. I hate him in every video game. I hate him in every movie. I hate him in every show. He is the most obnoxious. I hate the whole Sonya, Jax, Kano thing. I think it's pointless. It's dumb. I hate it. This is the first time I've watched Kano and been like, I love you. Like, I like you a lot. Like, he had me smiling. Sometimes he got annoying, but for the most part, a lot of his witty banter, for me, landed. And that would be what I would worry about is I would worry it would miss because it would be so cheesy. And sure, some of the stuff he said cheesy, but I thought he was funny. And then, again, I'm not going to spoil it, but to me, the best part of the movie actually wasn't a fight scene. It was a scene between Kano, and I'm not going to mention the other two characters, and two other Mortal Kombat characters, bantering with each other. And the stuff that they were saying to Kano had me actually laughing out loud.
At the table?
Yeah, I was like, this is beyond savage, the stuff they're saying. So, and the way they're saying it, like they're getting him all riled up and he's getting pissed. I'm like, oh, that's like watching Tim and Daniel talking to me. Like, I'm Kano.
So, funny that you were just saying how you liked him. In my head, I'm like, so this Kano is basically Derek if he was Australian and was witty. That's basically what the Kano is in this movie.
Okay, I was with you until you insulted my wittiness. I'm pretty witty, brother.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. God bless. Okay? He's witty.
God bless, brother.
YOLO. I'm YOLOing everywhere.
Hey, and Dan, I want to hear what you thought about it too, but Derek, just out of curiosity, because you said they rushed the story, I wondered, is this the kind of story or movie that they could have turned into a 6-part series and done more of a show approach that you would have liked, or are you glad they just did a movie?
Okay, so I do want to say this before we move on to Dan. And again, I won't spoil it because I came into it thinking, I don't know how to say this without spoiling it. I'll just say I came into it thinking. Spoil it. Well, it's not going to spoil it, but okay. I came into it thinking this first movie was going to cover what the first Mortal Kombat movie well, the one we were talking about, the original covered.
Mhm.
It doesn't. So
Yeah.
again, hopefully that doesn't spoil anything. It doesn't. And so I felt like what they established, they set up for a sequel. So they are definitely doing parts. Um, but I still felt the area that they covered, while I thought it was a great idea, I actually like it better than just redoing the first movie in a sense. They still rushed some stuff. You had enough characters, you could have fleshed it out without dragging in. I don't want a 3 hour Mortal Kombat movie, but it ended up being it clocks in at like an hour and 50, but really 13 minutes is like credits. So it's like an hour and 37 minutes or
So you could have
somewhere
had
around.
another 20, 30 minutes to add
Yes,
to.
add
It-
another
yeah.
20, 30 minutes, flesh
Yeah.
out a few more characters. Because, like I said, once the movie starts moving forward, it kind of starts out a little slow. And when I say slow, I'm not talking it doesn't have action. It has action. But it's a
Yeah.
little slow. And then once it starts pushing forward to where you see where the plot's going, it kind of just, it felt like it skipped. Like, I'll give an example. Like, they didn't flesh out Melina at all. They didn't flesh out a lot of characters. They fleshed out some. They didn't flesh out a lot of them, and I felt like they could have.
Yeah.
So that to me, especially when you see how their characters end up playing out, it kind of felt like they were underutilized. I don't know if Dan
Sure.
agrees, but that's how I felt.
I mean, where something like a series can be effective when you have such a big ensemble that you're trying. I'm not saying it should have been, but I know that I'm not a hardcore Mortal Kombat fan. I find some of it to be interesting. It kind of gives me nostalgia for the 90s, but if they had announced it as this is going to be a mature, serious take on Mortal Kombat, with some humor, of course, but and it's going to be a 6-part series, 8-part series, whatever, and they'll call it season 1. Maybe they'll do more, and then I would have been. I'm excited to watch it tonight. I would have been even more excited for a series because now I'd be like, dude, they're really going to dig into some stuff.
Well,
With the movie, and I feel like this about all movies now because TV series have gotten so good. Like Derek, I'm almost done with season 2 of Warrior now. And by the way, I heard that I'm pretty sure one of the actors is in Warrior. That's in this.
Sub-Zero.
That's awesome. He's an awesome fighter too in Warrior, of course. He's amazing. But
His whole
anyway, all that to
demeanor
say,
is totally, he nails it. He's perfect Sub-Zero.
good. Yeah, he's a good actor. Anyway, all that to say, I do feel like TV series, especially really high quality ones, have kind of spoiled me when it comes to movies. Because it makes it, in my opinion, harder for a movie to win me over to a character, to really establish a good story and a relationship. And I find myself not buying into a movie story as much as I used to because I'm like, that happened too fast. That was too rushed. So I wonder if that comes into play here at all.
I would say this, and I didn't say it because I don't want to spoil it, but the main character, which is a new character, he wasn't in the original Mortal Kombat games, he is completely rushed. Even though they like flesh him out, like you'll get to know him, his lineage and all that's rushed. Like they even how they tell you it, they're like in this and this and this, and it's like, but you could have like shown it. You didn't show it. You just told us that's what he is, and you gave like a few flashback scenes where you were already getting an idea of like you can predict it, which is fine. I'm not knocking it for not being a mystery. It was more how they unveiled it. They could have done it better. But there are several characters. It was almost like, hey, we'll put you in there real quick, nostalgia reasons, maybe let you kill somebody, maybe get killed, whatever. But there was no like, hey, this is why she's here, or this is why he's here, and what's their motivation. Sub-Zero, you know his motivation. Scorpion, you know his motivation. Shang Tsung spells out his motivation. Other ones, not so much. But overall, can't think of another video game movie that I absolutely loved, and this one, I'm gonna watch it again. That's how much I like it. And I'm not a movie buff. Was gonna go through all the Godzilla movies, and I got through half of the first one, and I was like, don't care. This, I'm gonna watch it again. So means I really like it.
That first Godzilla movie is a bit plotting. Because like you wanna see Godzilla, like that's really what it's about. But there's a lot of like what's his face on the ground, like Soldier Boy Quicksilver from the Marvel movies.
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah, there's a bit too much of like him just kind of like going through stuff and like getting from place to place. It's like, all right, come on, give me some Godzilla, you know?
By the way, that's a criticism that folks of the more recent Godzilla movies have. They're like, hey, there's not enough human stuff. Human stories aren't
No.
very good, and they show you too much of the monsters. I'm like, well, then you're missing the point of this.
Yeah,
But
you're an idiot is basically in your trash. So.
Yeah. What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I agree with pretty much most of what Derek said, and obviously trying to not be spoilery because Tim didn't watch it already. Yeah, no, the third. So it's specifically the third act that's rushed. And like there's literally like a moment where like something happens where they're kind of all gathered around, and then like just suddenly something happens, and then like the third act starts to proceed, and you're like, oh wait, what's happening? And then people are fighting, and you're like, wait, why does that? Is this what I think it is? Is it not what it is? And it's a little disorienting. And obviously, Derek, I'm sure you know which part I'm talking about. Like right at the third act, like when things start escalating right at the end, it's like it's just very like just they're throwing it at you, and it's like you didn't really explain if this is what we think it is or if it's like something else is going on. I mean, they do say something, but it's just kind of like a throwaway line to kind of like almost bridge what's happening. But it's like it's not really a good like explanation or reason. It's not like satisfying. But still, like the fighting is cool, and the choreography is good. I know that before the movie was coming out, they were trying to make like a big point about like how they wanted the choreography to be really good, and not too like CG, like kind of like fake. Like the games, they wanted it to be maybe a bit more grounded. I mean, there is CG moments. There's certain moves that, you know, I think there's maybe like a handful of moves that are done and they incorporate some CG in there because obviously you just kind of have to.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, yeah, definitely like the main character, I think he's a little weak just because, yeah, they don't perhaps spend too much time, you know, kind
I
of
felt like
explaining
his
some
dialogue
stuff.
was weak too.
Yeah, he didn't seem like the best actor out of the bunch, to be honest. He seemed a bit weak, like almost like I don't know, almost
I've
like
seen him before.
Which one?
The one that's playing Cole. So Cole is like the new
the
like the
lead
new
lead
original.
character.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's like an original character that's tied into the story.
Okay.
But I do really like that this is really tied into like the lore of like it's basically Sub-Zero versus Scorpion. Like that's what the lore and kind of introducing everything and like what is the connection there between the two and how that like funnels into everything else and everyone else involved. Yeah, it's and that Scorpion and Sub-Zero fight was sick. I did really like that they showed, you know, they've showed like a little bit in the trailers, but yeah, it's pretty sick. So I look forward to the future of them introducing, you know, some new characters or maybe like because obviously with the lore of Mortal Kombat, certain characters become other characters. So I like kind of hope that that's what happens. So that'll be kind of cool to kind of you know continue that and see where that spins off to. Soundtrack is pretty solid. They remixed that original 1995 Mortal Kombat theme song. So that's pretty cool. It's a little too dubsteppy for me, but I do like that they incorporate actual parts of that song, like the dude that shouts Mortal Kombat, and like test your might. They just kind of throw that in there, so that's fun.
Dan,
yeah,
is this something that you would have liked to see as a series, or are you cool with it just being a movie and maybe having a sequel?
I mean, there's pros and cons to it being a show because, like, say it was, you know, 8 1 hour long episodes, then technically you're getting 8 hours as opposed to a 2 hour film or not even 2 hours, apparently.
Okay.
But then it's like, would they have given it the budget of what they gave this movie? You know, it's like I don't know how that works. I don't know the specifics of like I know shows are kind of actually more popular nowadays than movies. So
Okay.
I don't know if they would have given it the appropriate budget to, you know, have it be as good of a show as it could be as opposed to the movie. So
I would
mean,
say this. I understand Tim's point, especially with me saying, hey, they could have fleshed out these characters. When I say fleshed out, like when I think of a show, like a lot of the shows I like, there's a lot of different plot points, usually a lot of characters that they have to take the time to flesh out a lot of things to to make the major scenes or the major plot twists more impactful. I think this is a overall, and I'm speaking in Mortal Kombat in general, not just this movie. Mortal Kombat is a pretty simple plot. There's not
Yeah.
a lot you need to flesh out. So when I say flesh out, I'm saying just take a few moments without, like, there was parts where I knew they were trying to appease to people that don't know what Mortal Kombat is. Like,
Yeah.
where in the beginning of the movie they would be like, the character would respond to another character by explaining something that anybody who's played the games already knows. I'm like, you're okay, that you're dumbing down the universe. But again, I understood it. But my point is like, when I say fleshing out, like, I'll use Melina as an example. I already told everybody she's in the movie, she's in the trailers and all that stuff. Melina just shows up, says like 2 words, fights a few times, and that's it. You don't know who she is.
Yeah.
You don't know why she's there. And Melina is a major character
Yeah.
in Mortal Kombat. She's not just like somebody who shows up in 1 or 2 games. Like, she's in almost every one.
She's very intrinsically tied to Shao Kahn, who's the big boss, who's then directly tied to Katana, and Jade.
Which totally tells me, since they're going to have sequels, she will be fleshed out. Don't get me wrong. But my point is in this movie, it was everything. And I'm just using her as an example. You can apply this to every character. They didn't take the time to at least somewhat, without just going, hey, Melina, you're here because you're a bad girl. like show me why she's there. Show me where she came from.
It's actually funny. The sort of like rushed feeling, especially with that third act, actually really kind of connects to like in the middle of the movie where they're like, yeah, we don't have a lot of time to like prepare for this. Like that whole, them saying like, yeah, like we need to prepare for this. Like they're gonna bring their dudes and start fighting and do Mortal Kombat, and that kind of like is almost like a,
that was another thing that was kind of my problem with the overall plot. Is the main plot in this, and again, I won't say it because, or I'll say it because I don't think it's that spoily, is, okay, so for anybody who doesn't know the rules with Mortal Kombat, like, the whole point of the tournament is to fight for your freedom. Like, they're wanting to take over, and if
the realm,
yeah. So I think the Outworld had won 9 straight tournaments, and if they won the 10th tournament, they could take over the Earth realm or whatever.
Right.
So the Earth realm, it's really important that the Earth heroes come together, that they create a big team, so they don't lose this tournament. Well, not Shao Kahn,
Shang Tsung
is like, we shall not leave this to chance. We are basically going to break the rules and try to destroy these people before the tournament, right? You've won 9 straight tournaments. You really don't need to cheat. So it was kind of like a very weak and thin plot point to be like, we're going to go after them now. We're going to cheat the system. We're going to do it the wrong way because we're bad guys, when you've won 9 straight tournaments. You're good.
I think that's kind of probably what was happening with some of those years or whatever amount of time, stretch of time happened for each tournament. But
yeah, and I agree. They've probably always been dirty and cheated, and I even think they said I think Shang Tsung said we never play fair or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, but we, the viewers, don't know that because we didn't see the 9 previous tournaments. Sure. I'm just sharing what went through my head. I'm like, well, you won 9 straight. You're good. You're locked in, buddy. You don't need to cheat. You don't need to fight this unnecessary fight. Just go to the tournament. And that's what I kept expecting to happen. And that's where I was saying, like, I agree with Daniel 100%, which is very rare. The whole third part of it, and I was checking the time because I had to go to work. So I was checking, like, how far am I in this movie? I'm like, this movie only has, like, 20 minutes left.
Yeah. Like, what's going on?
What's going on? And boom. It kicks off, and then it's like, oh, okay, so we're at the end. Okay. But I think overall, we've talked about it a lot. But again, it's my favorite, one of my favorite, if not my favorite, gaming franchises. I mean, knowing the movie was coming out, I went and bought 4 T-shirts. I just love the franchise. Like, so I think it's it's a compliment to say this is fun.
Yeah.
It is good for the most part. Not in all areas. It was well acted. The script, I would give it a 7 out of 10. The dialogue, a 7 out of 10. The fight scenes, 9 out of 10. Fatalities, a little rushed because some of them came and I was like, oh, there was no build up. It was like,
but it
literally.
happens though, and that's awesome. So,
But yeah, when they happen,
it happens.
they do them justice. Like they were like, I was like, they nailed these. These are done perfectly. So.
Well, you guys got me excited to watch it. I am looking forward to it. So that'll be cool.
Yeah, but you're a little Street Fighter noob, so. I don't like violence. I'm Christian 10. Blood and gore make me upset.
Aren't you Christian also?
No, I'm like the fakest Christian you've ever met.
I do like that mid-conversation you switched your background, though. Like, you're really going all in. And I like this.
Yep, there you go.
The Mortal Kombat characters, by the way, some of the best character and costume and weapon design of any fighting, or really of any game, but definitely of any fighting game. Just really good character design. Even the characters that we look at now, we're like, wow, that's pretty cheesy. They're still better than a lot of, fighting games.
Especially these newer iterations, there's the different outfits that you can kind of get.
Cool.
Yeah, very cool. And also Sub-Zero is better than Scorpion, always and forever. So.
Do you prefer to use him in the game over Scorpion?
Oh yeah.
That's funny thing is when I was young and I first started playing Mortal Kombat games, blue's my favorite color.
Right, exactly.
And I usually prefer ice over fire, so naturally I was a huge Sub-Zero fan. But as I played the game, I was like, he's not only more fun to play with, but he has the best fatalities. Yeah. Sub-Zero's fatalities, like, maybe 1 or 2 are outstanding. The rest are just cheesy.
I don't know.
Trash.
The modern day ones do get pretty crazy though.
I mean, dude, Sub-Zero's forming like ice axes now and like swords. He's doing some cool stuff, dude.
Nah, Scorpion's way better.
Okay. You're just jumping on the bandwagon.
I know that there's a lot of episodes where Dan and I will sit off in a corner and talk about either Valheim or indie games or something. I want to keep this Derek is interested train rolling here right into our headlines.
There you
go. I usually go to sleep by now.
And talk about Knights of the Old Republic remake. It's reportedly in the works right now.
Don't they report this like every year though?
Well, now it's apparently actually being handled by Aspire, and they're the team that just did Pod Racer, Republic Commando, Jedi Academy. So they have a very recent track record of handling a bunch of Star Wars IP. And they're calling it a remake. They're not calling it a remaster because there already are some kind of upgraded versions you can play like on the iPad and stuff. So this is supposedly a remake. And so if that's the case, my hopes aren't too high. It's not being remade by BioWare. But if they could make it a really good-looking version of an old game, I will 100% go through this. And I'll play through Sith Lords too.
They're going to have to change the gameplay. I think that's why they would call it a remake, because I'll be honest with you,
doesn't hold up.
Knights of the Old Republic and the second one are 2 of my favorite all-time games.
Right.
But whenever I go back to them, I'm like, ooh.
So,
yeah.
What kind of combat is like? I know they're RPGs, but are they like actual menus turn-based, or is it more like action RPG?
So
it's like pause time,
turn-based.
And give out orders.
It's turn-based, but you're moving the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay.
More Mass Effect and less Final Fantasy.
Well, I was gonna say, would this actually be a good sort of
it's
game?
Like Dragon Age Origins.
Dragon Age. There you go.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say if you kind of want to keep it in the RPG like roots a little bit, but like be mostly action, maybe borrow inspiration from 7 Remake.
Yeah.
Because
I think unless they're gonna change it completely, they're gonna do Dragon Age Inquisitions.
Okay.
Type combat where you can have strategy while
like pause it and then kind of do gotcha.
And give out your orders and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So that'd be exciting if it again. I would love for there to be not only a visual upgrade, like Derek said. Let's improve the gameplay too. And I know most people will just want BioWare to make a third one of these, or someone to make a third one, and I'd be excited for that too. But this game is a classic, and it's been out for I should have looked it up. This one came out, I want to say, like 19 years ago. Does that sound right?
On the original Xbox.
It's old.
I think people
so
will
it makes sense. If it came out 19 years ago, then they're obviously going to release it next year. It's going to be.
I think it was 2002. So
Yeah, people just want BioWare to do anything good at all right now.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
you know.
Yep.
Can I just say, I still think people are way too hard on BioWare. I understand Anthem was a letdown, but Dragon
Sure.
Age Inquisitions wasn't.
No.
Andromeda gets pooped on when it shouldn't.
Andromeda was great, man. Great game.
I understand it came out a little broken.
Yeah.
It was. I have to acknowledge it. But story, characters, and gameplay were still really good. I understand
and it looked
you didn't
good.
have Shepard, so you cry me a river, but it was still good.
It's almost kind of like Days Gone, right? Because Days Gone came out broken. The reviews reflected that, and then some time passed. They kept patching it, and now people are like, "This is legitimately like a really solid game." Like a lot of people actually like it, which is why they were upset about the Days Gone 2.
Andromeda is a better game, but I agree with your analogy as far as yes, Days Gone is a better game than what reviewers thought it was.
Right.
Yeah.
So
you know, speaking of Days Gone, I know we talked about this last week. But I did think it was funny throughout this week of people surfacing the quote of what's this guy's name? Garvin. His last name's Garvin. Hang on.
No idea.
John Garvin. He was a creative director for Days Gone. John Garvin. He was on David Jaffe's YouTube show, and he basically I'll just read his quote to you. He says because he was being asked by Jaffe about people waiting around for a sale and why isn't a sequel getting made, and he said, "I do have an opinion on something your audience may find of interest, and it might piss some off. If you love a game, buy it at full price. I can't tell you how many times I've seen gamers say, yeah, I got that on sale. I got it through PS Plus, whatever." So he's clearly unhappy with the way that consumers decided to do this. And this is actually a topic I wanted us to cover. So I'm curious what you guys think about this. Should consumers be made to feel guilty if they don't buy something at full price? Like, is it like a punishment? You won't get more of this if you don't do that. Like, is that really, do you think that's fair? What do you think about that?
It's a lot to take in.
I think I understand his mindset, and that is okay. So he kind of says it wrong, though. He should have fleshed out his comment a little more. Mm-hmm. Here's what I mean by that:
turned it into a series instead of a movie.
Exactly. So nobody knew, even me, who bought Days Gone on day one. Nobody knew if this game was going to be good. I could not tell you I was going to love it. In fact, when I bought it day one and started playing it, I did not love it. It wasn't until I came back to it way later when it was, and I won't even say that because its brokenness didn't bother me. That wasn't why I wasn't into it. I just felt like it was kind of jarring when I first played it because I was like, this feels like a B-movie video game, especially if you compare it to like The Last of Us. I understand it's open world, The Last of Us isn't, but my point is even the character movement, all that stuff is not at the AAA level, okay?
Right.
So to say if you love a game, you should pay full price. Well, first I'd have to love the game. So if I don't know if I love the game or the franchise, then why would I buy the game? For me, I know why I bought it because it interested me. But for most people, they're not like me. Most gamers are not like me. Yes, there's a lot in our group that buy stuff day one, but I literally bought Nier, and I hate Nier Automata. Why the hell did I buy Nier?
Yeah, why did you do that?
Because Tim and I just started talking, and I was like, Tim, what are you buying? He told me, I'm going to buy Returnal. Okay, I'll buy Nier. You're giving me a discount by giving me Returnal free.
Automata is amazing. Like, you're insane.
It is amazing. Yeah.
It's amazing.
It is amazing. Yeah.
It's just too anime for you, right? That's the problem. It's too anime.
I just want to say that I think I look cute right now.
Dan, what is your
why?
Because
facial hair.
Should we?
It is. It's the
should
facial
we feel guilty?
No, I mean,
if a sequel's not made because we didn't buy it in a way we were supposed to or at a price we were supposed to?
I mean, like I get the creator is like, hey, buy my thing for $60 because then we get more money coming in and then we could make more of the stuff that you want, right? Like if we're literally getting in more money, then we can do that. But yeah, I mean, like what Derek said, it's like
I think it's the mindset he does, and I see it too. In all those big groups, the mindset is, I'll just get it on Game Pass. I'll get it on PS Plus. And it's like, but do you are you interested in the game? Why won't you spend any money on it? That's what I don't understand.
I mean,
I do have to agree, and
All
I don't
right.
make games.
it's the financial struggles, you know. It's some people just really. A lot of people are just like, I buy Madden, Call of Duty, and then maybe like one other
Well, a
game,
lot of
and that's
people
it for the whole
budget
year.
out like I'll buy
Yeah,
2
you
new
know.
games all year, and that's their prerogative. That's fine.
I mean,
Listen, I actually completely disagree with this guy's take. We live in a day and age right now where we have Game Pass, we have PS Plus, we have all these games that are getting given at a great discount, if not free, maybe with a subscription. I mean, I'm I'm sorry that the market is heading that direction and he doesn't like it.
mm,
But as a consumer, no one's well, I shouldn't say no one. It's not because people pirated this game. That's not why it's not getting a
Yeah.
sequel. That's not the problem. So like if you want to get mad at someone for stealing it, I 100% get it. You know, if musicians or movie makers or even game makers are mad because their game is getting pirated, that sucks. And I actually
Yeah.
feel for them and I think that's awful. That's not what's happening here. This is people who are choosing to use their money and wait in the way that they want to. Like some people decided, hey, we really want to watch the new Disney Pixar, just the new Disney movie, the last Maya and the Last Dragon, but we're gonna wait till it comes out in June for all Disney Plus viewers. We don't want to pay the $30 up front. I don't
Right.
care. Do what you want because Disney made it clear up front that's what you could do if you want to.
Right.
So if a company gives you all these options of here's how you can access the content, I can't get mad at the consumer for choosing one of those avenues. Some people will buy it up front and spend all the
I
money.
mean,
Some people
th-
won't.
those conversations have been had, right? Where it's like, well, what is the value of a game to you? And then people are like, well, how many hours is it? Or does it have this? Does it have that? You know, it's like, well, that's the thing here, right? The reviews came out and the game kind of came across as a bit mediocre. So everyone was like, I'm
Didn't
not
come
spending.
across as mediocre, Dan. I'll just be a little harsher than Derek was. It was mediocre.
It was mediocre.
And that's the problem. If you don't
Yeah.
make a must-buy product,
Sure.
people aren't going to feel like they must
Yeah.
buy it. That's just the bottom line. And they
Yeah.
didn't make a must-buy game. This is not saying that game was bad. To me, it's a classic swimming in sevens, maybe even close to 8, because it's a really big open world to explore. But it's not amazing. It's not must-buy. It wasn't even close to
And,
the top of
Like, I loved it. I beat it twice. I loved it, and I would play it a third time. In fact, I'm gonna buy it when it comes on PC.
But was it a must-buy when it released for most people? I mean, I don't think it was.
I don't think it. No, for most gamers, no, it's not.
Right.
I don't disagree.
I don't know
with
what he was
I'm
expecting.
saying, but I also don't want to take this guy out of context, or at least the context I'm assuming he's speaking from. I think where he's coming from is, if you want Days Gone 2, like if you've got all these people chirping and whining, pay $60. I don't think that's wrong to say. I think if nobody's whining and he just said that, like, guys, you want a Days Gone 2? Why didn't you pay $60? Then that's entitlement. But he's saying, guys, you're upset that we're not getting a sequel, but you didn't go out and support this game at the highest level that you could have supported it at. That's what's going to get you a sequel. So that I agree with. I also agree with Tim that, again, you wouldn't have to worry about whether somebody's buying it for 60 or not. If you make a Last of Us quality game, they're going to pay $60. Nobody's, I won't say nobody. There are the Jesse Whites of this world. Idiot. That
wow,
that
shots fired.
Jesse knows I love him. But he won't play The Last of Us right away. He waits until it goes on sale. So there's those few people that do it. But for most people, they see experience like that and they see all the reviews, they're like buying it. In fact, honestly, that is why
Jesse,
I bought
he will pull the trigger on some games. So if it's a series that he already likes, or if the reviews and the things coming back are so overwhelming that it just works on him, then it would work. And he's a great example of someone he's going to hold that wallet closed a little more tightly, which I think is there's a lot of people out there in that same way. Like, hey, I'm not just going to throw money.
There's more
games.
Jesse Whites than there are Derek Teagues.
100%. Yes, absolutely. And so I think the onus is on the people creating the thing to make it undeniably great. And it wasn't undeniably great. It was good. It just wasn't undeniably great. So I'm sorry that your game wasn't good enough to make everyone buy it at $60. That's my response.
Look at how rude this Timothy boy is.
Snobby Tim. It's Snobby Tim. Snobby Tim. I mean,
listen,
it's all...
I don't begrudge anyone who enjoyed it. I know you and Sasan went back and you guys both really liked it, and that actually kind of makes me go.
I think we YOLO'd over it for a while. We were
definitely YOLO'd over it. You did,
Please stop.
And I think and I think that's awesome. But I'm also, I mean, it's the same thing with any other exclusive that doesn't quite hit it out of the park. You know, especially with this new IP, you got a lot that's going up against you. And I don't know. I feel like even the people that had bought it, I think Sony is still looking at how good the game was, how it's critically received, and it was not up to snuff with its other first-party games. It just wasn't.
I think too, like with him being like, you know, really directly tied to making the game, like they worked on that game for like what, at least 6 years? Like they worked on it for a long time. So like also he's coming at it from like, man, we put like freaking blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, and you guys are saying you want a second one, but like, you know, some of you maybe didn't buy it at $60. So it's like there's kind of that level of emotion with it too, perhaps, where it's like obviously, you know, he made this thing. It's you know, obviously with a team of people, but you know, there's probably
I do believe, as a follow-up to that, he and other creators have tweeted out since then, to their credit, like, just so it's clear, we are so appreciative of those who have supported it wherever you played it. And so, to Derek's point, there was context to that comment to Jaffe, but he was just kind of having an honest, raw moment of like, you know, that would have helped make a case for this if you guys would have done that. So I get it, but I also look at Sony's other first-party games and the quality that they're putting out when they release a major first-party game. This one didn't feel like it was one of those. You know?
It's a lot easier for people to just say, is this on par with this game? Like whatever in their head is like, you know, that bar that's like, it's up here. It's like, is the game to that? If it's not, I'm not dropping $60. So like,
I mean, it's
just,
like,
you know,
it's like the Indiana Hoosiers having one really good football season in the Big Ten. It's like, all right, good job, but you're not Ohio State.
That reference is going right over.
Derek knows what I'm saying. Derek knows what I'm saying.
Yep.
Like good for you, Indiana. You had one good year, and even then you weren't that great. So, all right. Microsoft. Let's talk about them real quick. xCloud is coming to iOS and PC devices, and I think this is a pretty big deal and I think it's in beta, so it's one of those things where you have to sign up for it, but it's on its way, so you'll be able to play xCloud. Thanks, Derek, for the slow clap.
You're the Xbox
guy. on Apple devices and on PC. So I think same thing as PS Now. You need to have a great connection. Like it's not for everybody. You've got to have a really good connection for this. But the idea of it is really cool. My son he saved up and bought himself a Samsung Galaxy tablet, and he streamed a couple games on there, and it looks pretty good. Like it's not perfect, but it was pretty cool. He Bluetoothed his controller to it and was like, look at this. I mean, it's funny because his TV and his Xbox are right there, but he's sitting on his bed with those right there turned off, and he's got his little tab like, Dad, look, I can play right here. And I'm like, yeah, you can also play right there.
You're pointing at the TV. Yeah, the giant.
But the idea of it is cool. I get that. The idea of it is very cool.
Sure.
A couple things from Nintendo. This Polish developer called Pineapple Works, they've announced this game called Odd Venture, which looks a lot like Earthbound and Undertale, and there's a reason it looks like those two. That's the games that inspired it. Basically, it's coming to Switch next year. It looks like it's got that kind of quirky RPG light vibe to it.
I mean, somebody's got to make those games since Nintendo won't release Mother 3 over here in the States for some reason. I don't know.
Very true. There's another game that just came out, I believe, or it's about to. I just saw it on the Nintendo Life website called Smelter. It's kind of a combination between Mega Man X scrolling action and then a little bit of ActRaiser style strategy elements.
I think I actually saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, so Smelter looks really cool. I like the visuals of it. There was a game that tried this last year or the year before called Soul Seraph, and it didn't quite do it. It was trying to be the modern ActRaiser, and it didn't capture that same magic, which wasn't that fun. So Smelter does look like it's a lot better. So if you're interested in that, you can go check that out. Capcom is going to have another Monster Hunter digital event on Tuesday this coming week, on the 27th. So check that out. They're going to have some updates on Monster Hunter Rise. I don't know I think that might just be about Switch updates, although they could end up announcing, ports to PC or PS4 or something like that. Who knows? But at the very least, we're going to get some updates on what they're working on with Rise and on Monster Hunter Stories 2, which is kind of their anime spinoff that's coming to Switch in July.
Well, game, right?
That's
anime game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Not show.
Yeah, my kids have it.
Game.
Right. It's the game. Anime style game. I should have said that more clearly. My kids have the first one on the 3DS, and they really liked it. It's very, very kid friendly. it's not really a Monster Hunter game. It's like a story-based RPG where you have monsters from that world.
I'm actually into it. I like the way it looks, and if it's a little more focused, I might actually be into playing that as opposed to Rise.
It is more focused. It's not really the same experience at all.
Mm-hmm.
One more quick thing I thought was kind of interesting is the Spanish the Spanish branch of Konami, so Konami España, hints at more Switch news to come, and this is via various interviews and some just kind of fun tweets from their official account. And there's some copyrights involving Castlevania, as well as, and I think Derek, you liked this game, as well as Metal Gear Rising Revengeance.
Revengeance?
Yeah.
Wait, are they gonna put Revengeance on the Switch?
Possibly. I mean, who knows?
But I mean, they could. It was a 360 game.
Sure.
I feel like that would be a good one for them to put out. I mean, people like me would be interested in giving it a go on the Switch. You know, it's interesting to see Konami. It seems like they're starting to dip their toes back into the gaming world a little bit. They're doing that. I can't pronounce it now. That Getsu Fumaden, I think is how you say it.
Yeah,
they're doing that.
Yeah. Close. Yeah, I think that's pretty much. I keep hearing Metal Gear, and I guess it's been the case like here and there over the years, but like right now, there's been a David Hayter. The voice of Solid Snake is also kind of been doing some cryptic stuff. Supposedly Metal Gear 2 remake or Metal Gear Solid 2. Metal Gear Solid 2. So that would be super cool.
Did you guys ever play the Metal Gear Solid kind of upgrade on GameCube when that came out?
Yeah, I did. Apparently, a lot of purists really don't like it.
That's
didn't
fair.
dislike
it's
it.
very different than the PS1, but I visually it's better, and I liked that one a lot. I actually ended up, I was hard up for money a while back, and that one was really hard to find, so I was able to get like $80 for it or something at one point, so I went for it. And I kind of regret that now. I wish I could have figured out a way to keep games like that, and then I also got rid of there were 2 Fire Emblem games back to back on GameCube and Wii that were both hard to find.
Yeah.
And I got some good money for those. I kind of wish I had held on to them, but whatever. I'm a fake fan. What can I say? So that's all the headlines that jumped out to me. Is there anything else for you guys before we talk about what we're playing?
Everyone could be not mad at Sony anymore.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Everything's fine now.
Let's talk about the old Sony walk back. All right. So a little bit ago, Microsoft did a walk back, right? They announced the price hike for their Game Pass. Was it Game Pass or Xbox Live? I think it was Xbox Live. Right?
Xbox Live? Yeah, I think it was Xbox Live.
So anyway, the short version of that was people whined a lot and Microsoft changed their mind. We're like, we hear you, and they changed it back. Sony just did the exact same thing. They announced, here, we're shutting down these digital stores. People whined a lot, and they're like, we hear you. PSP's still going away, but we'll keep PS3 and Vita around. Their digital stores at least. So
yeah, PSP commerce functionality will retire July 2nd, 2021 as planned. But yeah, Sony has officially confirmed it will be backtracking its decision to close the PlayStation stores associated with the PS3 and PS Vita consoles.
There you go.
But I swear, I don't know if it's actually saying in this article, I think they still can't be releasing a new game on the Vita because like Colin's all up in arms because like he actually has like stake in a company that does a lot of Vita games. So, and to be fair, I think he has a right to be a bit pissed because I guess he had bought a second dev kit like literally just like within the last month or two, like right before they said, oh yeah, by the way, we're closing that. And it's like, okay, Sony, come on. Like, why were you still selling dev kits if you kind of like were in discussions behind the scenes? Like, that's not
fair.
cool. That's
to me that makes sense, right? Because you spent money. The idea of it shutting down makes a little more sense, but I think the fact that you were still going to be able to log in and download previous purchases already made this less of a big deal. But they are reversing the decision for, I'm guessing, the 2 more active storefronts. Yeah. So
There needs to be a better solution, though. All of this needs to be put onto newer the whatever. If the infrastructure is different, whatever it is they need to do, just figure it out. Because Microsoft did, and they said said it was a pain, right? They said this was a pain, but we did it because it's important.
Yeah,
so
there
Sony
needs to be kind of like one umbrella store for Sony behind everything, and then certain things are playable on certain systems. They've done it in small ways here and there, where you could buy something on PS5 store, but it's also PS4. So they've got those integrated. It'd be great if they integrated everything else.
It needs to be. It's important.
Yeah, I totally agree. So, all right. Well, that's all the headlines that I had. I wanted to talk a little bit about Nier, but before we talk about Nier Replicant, because I did play a little bit of it this evening,
Mm.
through like the first story section and beat my first boss. So I want to talk
Nice.
about that a little bit, but curious if you guys are playing anything new or notable this week.
Actually, for Derek, I want to throw out, and I forgot to mention it on the last episode because I actually had listed several things. So Derek, while you were gone for a couple of episodes, I did something that I regret. I played a game that you very much enjoy. Um, I fell to the greed. I fell, greed fall. I played that for about an hour a few weeks
And
back. Dude, that opening city is surprisingly gorgeous. That just like the kind of like steampunk, like there's like fog and smog, and the lighting is actually really nice. Like it's actually a super cool looking city. Like I actually really wanted to explore it. But it's really hard to want to explore when your like characters when they're running around just look like ridiculous mannequins. Like
I was gonna ask you about the running.
yeah,
That animation, I could
the-
not get over it, man.
the animations are really bad.
I was like, I can't
Um,
watch this character move like this for an entire game. I can't do
Yeah.
it.
But like there is something there. I think if this developer keeps just kind of going for it and trying what they're trying to do and maybe just kind of have that budget to I think maybe the scope of this was too big for maybe the budget that they had.
Yeah, that makes
Because
sense.
it seems like they really focused on a lot of things. Like I said, like perhaps the environment's looking really nice, but then the characters run like freaking idiots. But
Did
then
you get to combat though? Did you?
I did do the combat, but I didn't really mess around with a lot of the pausing stuff. But it seems like the systems are super deep there. And then it has that whole Mass Effect thing of like, talking to individuals, making choices. Those choices affect like, which avenue you go down. And it seemed like there's certain parts of like maybe the city that if like you interact with people a certain way, like if you go to this part of the city, like people are really not going to like you there. Things like that. So
Yeah.
it seemed really interesting. I didn't feel it in my heart to like actually be like, I'm going to play this and actually beat it. But like, I acknowledge that there's some things there that are interesting. And this team, I think if they can kind of just maybe like scale it back just a little bit,
Yeah.
and have the budget kind of coincide like nice and evenly with the scope of what they're trying to make. And they can just kind of keep improving because I think they probably have some pretty good ideas. Just please, for the love of God, make your characters run like normal people. Just please.
I mean, every time they release a game, they get better.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So
And I know they make money off their stuff now. Well, I'm sure they always made it, but I'm saying like they make good money. So I know their teams are getting better, more experience.
Yeah.
So I do expect by the time they release a PS5, Xbox Series X game, we're
What are
gonna
you doing
get...
over there, man? I've seen a lot of leg.
What? Come on. What is this? Does Tim need to censor you? Does Tim need to censor you?
I just saw a lot of leg, and then your hand disappeared, and I was like, "What are we about to witness here?" Oh my gosh!
Thank God for the fading in and out background.
So last week we did end the episode talking about the three of us going to play, and we did. We went and played some Hunt Showdown just for a few rounds, and
I loved it.
I didn't like it, but that's because it's basically like Nightmare Cowboy Fortnite, and so
Yeah.
I didn't really. It wasn't really my thing.
It's-
Although I will admit the setting is very cool, the concept and all that's very cool, and there's a ton of depth in terms of stuff to unlock and visuals and all that, and there's a lot there that if you like that style of game, I could see people getting into it. But yeah, when you're playing a game and all you can think about is other things you'd rather be doing, it's not a game for you. And I know that you guys have done that before too. So
yeah, it's called that pirate game or whatever on Xbox, the one you love.
Sea of Thieves.
Yeah, it's so boring and stupid.
Yeah, it really is, and I can't stop playing it when I do start playing it. But the other one I'm playing, of course, is Nier. Are either of you played this one yet? Nier Replicant?
No, I've been gone all day.
I'm like I don't know if I'm probably gonna wait a while to be honest. It's just I have like this weird thing.
You're not
I have
gonna
this
support the developer?
I have a weird thing with prequels. I'm not like immediately excited about something that technically takes place before a story that I already experienced. I just don't know how much of like this game is tied to that one. Like how much of that lore is like, You know, like if I was playing Automata, was I missing things because I never played the original, like that sort of stuff? But like,
yeah, I had never played the original. I played Automata, really liked it, especially. So I thought my first time through whatever chapter A, isn't it chapter A, B, and C or something like
there's
that?
A, B, C, D, and E.
So the first time through I was like, all right, this is interesting. I thought it was good. Second time through, I was like, oh, really? I'm redoing almost everything. This is weird. It's just a slightly different perspective. I don't know if I love this. The third one is where I was like, whoa, this is mind blowing, and I love it because it kind of picks up and moves the story forward. And there's a bunch of twists to the overarching story that I thought were great. So I enjoyed that a lot. Didn't feel like I mean, there's a lot of weird dialogue in these types of games. There's a lot of stuff there. Like, I don't think they're saying real words right there. Like, that's very confusing.
Very anime.
But yeah, but I still loved it. I thought that was a really fun game and a cool story. And I have no idea if this one's going to connect to it down the line. It's not apparent to me, at least, at the beginning. In the first, there's a whole opening sequence, there's a little tutorial, and then there's a time jump. You know, when you see a time jump in a movie or a show, and like, for example, at the end of Infinity War, was it Infinity War or is it the beginning of Endgame? Beginning of Endgame, they do a 5-year jump, right?
Right.
That's a big deal. 5 years. A lot happens in 5 years. Well, this is more of like a 1,400-year jump that they throw at you.
Okay. That's it?
Yeah, right out of the gate. Just 1,400 years. So that kind of stuff really makes me roll my eyes because I'm just like, well, what's like, all right. And maybe it'll make sense, but it's just so dumb.
Sure.
So anyway, it throws you forward in the future. And of course, by then, things are way different. And so you're in a much different type of setting after that time jump. And so far, it feels very much like an old game. It's not. That's not to say that it's bad, but it's definitely an old game. Like it's the opening little quote unquote village that you're in is so barren. There's a few characters to talk to, but it's just big and green and flat. And it honestly, if someone walked in and I told them I'm actually playing this on the Switch right now on the big screen, it would be believable. Like, it doesn't. Visuals are not impressing me, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now, they're not bad. Like, if I knew this were on Switch, I'd probably be like, hey, this looks so pretty good for a Switch game. But I'm playing a PS4 game on a PS5, and I'm like, oof, this isn't amazing.
Yeah.
But just wanted to put that out there. I wouldn't expect to be blown away visually. Don't let my background, if you're watching this on video, confuse you. This is just some artist's rendering of the world.
I think Automata also wasn't like a showstopper visually.
It wasn't. You're right. True.
It was just more of like a very unique visual, like had a very unique visual style, and just kind of
where
very
the
animated.
visuals are a little stronger is when you've got a screen full of enemies, tiny enemies that are running around that you have to shoot real quick. You know, similar to Automata, you've got the little over-the-shoulder thing that's helping you fire, or you're doing your melee attack or your special attacks, and there's lots happening all at once. And during the big boss fight, you have lots of little mobs that are trying to surround you as well. A lot going on, and the game ran very smoothly. So I got to give it a lot of credit there.
Should.
I just want to say, without spoiling it, the games are connected.
How dare you?
You have to see all the endings.
Sure. So similar to...
I would have been surprised if they aren't, because there are already elements in there that I'm kind of like, I wonder if they're going to tie that in.
Yeah, but when they made the original Nier, which is what this Replicant is, just a remake of it, they've added a new ending to this remake that connects it to Automata more.
Okay. Now, wasn't Nier a spinoff from Drakengard?
Yeah. One of the endings, I think the E ending on the first Drakengard is where Nier came from.
Which seems weird because to me, Nier is like a little bit of fantasy, but a lot of modern technology and like futuristic stuff. And
Drakengard like
dragons
and
it's very medieval, but it's lots of magic and stuff. But anyway, so I like it. I'll keep playing it a little bit to see if it hooks me like the Nier Automata did, or Automata, however you say it. Okay,
I think it's Automata.
So that one did eventually hook me, and I liked it. This one, we'll see. It's got a very feminine male character in the lead, and my 3-year-old was there. He kept saying, "That's a girl." I'm like, "Nope, that's a boy." He's just like, "That's a girl." Like, no,
just tell him. Listen, this is an anime character. That's just it's an anime character.
I realized that.
Just say that they're gender fluid.
I did, and I told him that he was a bigot, and he left the room. So I was like, "Here, take your fruit snacks and leave the room, you bigot."
Gender ambiguity.
That's pretty much what I told him.
Yeah.
So those are the those are really the only things that I'm playing outside of the normal stuff. Jumped into Rocket League a little bit this week and stuff like that. But yeah, trying out Nier. And then next week, I'm very excited to play Returnal because today I spent a little time for my lunch break watching some videos now that I've got it officially pre-ordered. And I guess I didn't realize how much this game looks like it's right up my alley. So we'll see. I might play it and it doesn't strike the right tone, but it's looking like something that I'm going to really enjoy.
Yeah.
So
visually looks nice. I like.
So we'll talk about it next week. We'll make sure to record after we get a chance to try it out. So, anything else you guys are playing before we wrap things up for this week, or anything else to bring up?
I've also decided for some reason to start playing an MMO again.
Okay, I saw you on there playing Final Fantasy 14.
Yep. I was like, you know what? Why not? Why the hell not invest into a game that's like thousands of hours? Just why not? The main reason was
how does it play on the console? Because I've never played an MMO on a console.
Right. So the main reason is because the PS5 beta is going on right now. So the game's gonna have the upgraded PS5 version, which is in beta, and I wanted to try it out. So I was like, I want to try out the beta, and it's not free. So I was like, all right, well that's annoying. But there's a free trial that you can purchase on the store, and download it and do a free trial of Final Fantasy 14. Well, apparently at some point in the past, it must have been when I originally bought the game, I did a free trial. So the free trial was not valid for me. I was like, you got to be freaking kidding me. So I was just like talking to my wife, and I was just like, because I was trying, she was on the couch, and I was like trying to figure out like, how the hell can I just play this game for a month for free? And it wasn't happening. And she's like, I mean, if you want to, just go ahead, just because you could buy it, you could just pay monthly, or you can just have it, auto renew every month, just take the money out of your account. So I just paid for the month, and I'm just playing it right now. Man, MMOs are just such like a niche thing, but like the MMOs that just have a big following, like millions of people are playing this game, but at the same time, it's so niche. It's just it's very peculiar because the combat is like.
But if it gets its hooks in you, you're in big trouble. Because I've gotten hooked by Guild Wars, by Star Wars: The Old Republic. Even recently, in the last year, I got rehooked on Star Wars: The Old Republic. Final Fantasy 14 didn't quite hook me, but I remember getting hooked on City of Heroes. I loved that game. I thought the game was amazing. World of Warcraft, of course, EverQuest 2. So I've had my fair share of MMOs that have, at some point, and usually it's in the first hour or so of getting acclimated and learning your first move or two and going out on your first little dinky quests. If they can get you there where you get that dopamine hit of leveling up and something, then dude, you're in trouble.
Tim, honestly, it's really just like the bar at the bottom. The bar at the very, very bottom is the EXP bar. And that baby's just filling, and I'm like, yeah. And chocobos are running by, and like it's just, and people are wearing, freaking Dark Knight armor. Yeah, man. Dragoon armor, and people just running around. It's just obviously, it's a Final Fantasy game. It's online, but like I love Final Fantasy, so all the visual stuff's just hitting you. But like the game's just not like, it's not like fast. It's not like an action game. It's very much an old game that's like an RPG, and like your character's auto attacking, and
auto attacks and lots of cooldowns and all your specials.
Yep. So, and there's just so much information on the screen. It's overwhelming. Like that first hour or so, and then like you get used to it. But I don't know. It's weird because it's like it's not like amazing to play, but like there's just something about it, and whatever it is about it that you latch onto, and you're like, all right, well, I'm gonna keep playing this because I am having fun. Even if it's just that one aspect, like EXP bar filling up, So
well, and for you, of course, also the Final Fantasy universe in general is always going to have an appeal to you, and it does to me as well.
But I've heard 14 has like 14 supposedly, especially with the expansions, a lot of people actually say it's like top 3 Final Fantasy story wise.
Yeah,
like,
some people love intriguing. The story. I know, but it's also overwhelming because you're like, all right, well then I know the base MMO itself is going to have like 200 or something crazy hours of missions and story to get through, and then each expansion is going to add on to that. So that's where I start to kind of go like, there's no way I can do this.
and it's not all fully voiced. That's the other main thing that bugs the hell out of me is like most of it's not fully voiced.
Yeah.
So
I got you.
But that's my life.
Nice. All right, well, I think that does it for us this week. And next week, we'll be talking about Returnal. Actually, next week, I also want to talk about the upcoming games in May, because we've got a really big month of May coming up with several marquee games. So we'll talk about that. And I think that's pretty much it. So we'll let you guys head off to sleep. I know it's getting late. Okay, I know it's been a long day. You need to get your beauty sleep, especially with that beard, Derek.
Derek, do you have any words of wisdom for everybody?
It's been a while. Let's hear some
Right.
words of wisdom.
I'm playing Nier, guys.
Say YOLO.
Oh wow! So Derek is playing Nier. That means anybody can accomplish anything, and just have patience. Just enjoy things.
I
Because
mean,
even
you know that I'm playing it, and I told Tim this. I'm just playing it so I can bitch about it on the next show and online and Facebook.
Yep.
Sure. So play
That's
games so you can complain about it later.
I was hoping you would throw us a YOLO, brother, to close us out, but you didn't want to do that. It's fine.
YOLO. YOLO, Frodo, brother.
Oh no! Please stop.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot. We'll see you next week.